We will win. 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 We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest.
So this has become a recurring game at this point, but let's once again ask the question: have Democrats learned anything from the 2024 election? Have they reflected or introspected or decided to try a new path forward whatsoever? Everyone knows the answer to that, so everyone repeat after me. 1, 2, 3. No, absolutely not. They've not learned a single thing. It's very funny. There was that little month between November and December where you had a lot of Democrats talking about how maybe we need to be different next time. And then immediately they have gone right back to the same tired old TDS nonsense from 2017. And I literally mean it is the same exact act as 2017, because we even have Democrat Congressman Al Green now starting a new movement on the House floor where he wants to bring articles of impeachment against President Trump. And, you know, just as a quick reminder here, he literally did that the last time. Like, literally, the definition of insanity is, of course, trying the same thing over again and expecting different results. But when you have this class of geriatric, washed up old politicians, you know, this is the only thing they know. They really don't know how to reinvent themselves. We're doing this again. Democrats want to impeach Trump yet again. We'll show you that in a second. First, folks, do us a big favor. If you enjoy the content, make sure that you hit that like button down below and subscribe if you are new. You subscribing is the best way to ensure we can keep doing these videos. And if you're not going to do it for me, look at Al Green. Okay, look at this guy. He would be very mad, as he is, if you hit that red button. So make sure you do that. And with that said, so take a listen for yourself. Here is the Democrat congressman today on the House floor talking about how they want to impeach Trump. Check it out.
And still I rise, Mr. Speaker. And I rise today, Mr. Speaker, with a to whom it may concern message. To whom it may concern, ethnic cleansing in Gaza is not a joke, especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, when he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke, and the Prime Minister of Israel should be ashamed, knowing the history of his people, to stand there and allow such things to be said. Ethnic cleansing has been a crime against humanity. And I stand here today in the well to denounce what was said, to denounce what the president said, to denounce the complicity of the Prime Minister of Israel, and to remind people that Dr. King was right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And injustice in Gaza is a threat to justice in the United States of America.
Okay, so we are about halfway through already Al Green's speech. He's about to talk about impeachment here in a second. But you notice, okay, so what are the reasons for this impeachment, right? Because you have to actually, believe it or not, you're supposed to, at the very least, impeach a president over an actual crime. Okay, you can't just impeach the president because you don't like him or you don't like his hair or something like that. And the only thing he's mentioned so far is this so-called ethnic cleansing in Gaza, which I would not characterize that as, you know, what Trump is trying to do. But nonetheless, even if you want to view it that way, under what crime does that fall under US law? Because you disagree with a president's foreign policy? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Okay. And I think it's also worth noting here, I don't know where Al Green was back in 2003 when President Bush invaded Iraq, but I hope he was, you know, keeping this same energy. I doubt he was, but nonetheless, let's also talk, though, about this very issue of Gaza, because you want to talk about ethnic cleansing, which is basically the displacement of people from their historic or ethnic homeland. That has already happened. Are we just ignoring this fact? Like, the Palestinians were displaced from Gaza under Joe Biden's watch. It is not President Trump who started that war or allowed that war to begin. So one could argue they've already been displaced. And believe it or not, despite all of the pandering perhaps that Biden tried to do to the Palestine activists to try to win the election, the fact of the matter is Joe Biden backed Israel, backed Netanyahu, in this war that was displacing the Palestinian people. So I don't know what he's talking about here. I don't know how exactly that's an impeachable offense under any of the circumstances, but nonetheless, okay, ethnic cleansing in Gaza, blah, blah, blah. Let's now hear why exactly Al Green wants to impeach President Trump.
I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done. I also rise to say that the impeachment movement is going to be a grass-up movement, not a top-down. The people have got to move forward. The people have to demand it. And when the people demand it, it will be done. I did it before. I laid the foundation for impeachment. And it was done. Nobody knows more about it than I. And I know that it's time for us to lay the foundation again. On some issues, it is better to stand alone than not stand at all. On this issue, I stand alone, but I stand for justice. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. Members are reminded to refrain from engaging in personalities toward the president.
It's just so ridiculous on literally every single level. So the first thing, again, I'm pointing this out, you say you want to impeach Trump for what exactly? So the first thing he hints at, he's talking about ethnic cleansing in Gaza. And it's like, I'm not sure that's really grounds to impeach the president. Again, you can't just impeach a president because you don't like their foreign policy. But he specifically says that he is going to try to impeach Trump for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done. So in other words, he said bad things. Like, we're not making this up. I'm not exactly sure, guys, that's an actual crime under US law or the Constitution or whatever, but apparently dastardly deeds is the big thing here, right? This is the big bombshell that we finally found the reason why we're going to impeach President Trump. That doesn't even make any sense. I don't know what this guy is talking about, but of course, this is the best, apparently, that the Democrat Party has to offer us in 2025. They are a party that is completely lost in the wilderness. They are directionless. They have no identity, and this is all they can basically do. This is literally all they have the capacity to do is just try to recreate the theatrical act back from 2017 and expect it to work, which frankly, it is not going to. Okay. And that kind of brings me here to my second point, which is his whole argument that this needs to be a grassroots movement. This needs to come from the people. That's what he said. The people need to demand this. Well, Representative Al Green, I hate to break it to you, but when you break down the 2024 election results, the sheer fact of the matter is the people voted for President Trump overwhelmingly. They wanted him to be the president. They overwhelmingly rejected your party. And so I'm not exactly sure that's going to end very well for you. I find this whole act to just be so utterly hilarious because it is performative, right? As he's saying this, Democrats do not even control a single chamber of government, which makes the entire thing so insanely comical because literally what he is quite actually here doing is screaming into the void. That's what Democrats are doing. They're screaming into the void because they have no capacity to change anything. No one likes them. They're not popular. You know, I think they have like a 31% nowadays approval rating with the American people, which is just horrendous, right? They're completely underwater. And so all they can basically sit there and do is scream and cry about it. And hilariously, you know, he brings up there, oh, I launched the first impeachment attempt. It's like, okay, how did that end for you? Did that exactly go very far? No. All this is just performative, theatrical nonsense. But when you're the party, again, that is lost in the wilderness and there's nothing else you can do, that's about all you can do. You can basically just give lip service to Trump derangement syndrome and nothing more, nothing less. Now, with that said, here's the problem. Here's the problem with the Democrats trying to revert back to the Trump derangement syndrome of 2017 is the energy's not there anymore. Like, this is a different country now. This is a different country. Our culture has changed. Our political climate has changed. And you can clearly see that from the energy levels and the crowd sizes of the anti-Trump protests that are currently happening right now in our streets. Because take a look at videos like this and ask yourself, where did all of that energy go? Back. Yeah, I'm sure that Trump and Elon Musk are absolutely shaking in their boots right now. What do we do when our rights are under attack? Stand up, fight back. Like, where is the energy? I remember, okay, I'm old enough to remember when anti-Trump protests used to be massive things. What is this? Even she's like, there's not a lot of people here, but this movement's gonna grow. Yay. Okay, again, I'm not sure exactly that the energy to resist President Trump is really anywhere that it used to be. But nonetheless, Democrat politicians are trying. Just yesterday, they took to the streets to organize a greater protest against Elon Musk. And again, I'm sure we're all basically just shaking in our boots. Like, we're just so terrified of these people. Check it out.
He has broken the law time and time again. This cannot stand. He must be held accountable. He must be made to pay. We must enforce the law.
First of all, happy Black History Month, which is American history. There's a sign back there that says DOGE actually means dangerous oligarchs grab everything. Well, ain't that the truth? I am so tired of these billionaire boys and their grubby little hands grabbing at everything. Hands off our bodies, hands off our data, hands off our tax refunds, hands off our social security checks, hands off our constitution, hands off our democracy, hands off. As a proud member of the Committee on Oversight, I'm here for some real-time congressional oversight.
Whoa, we're so scared. We have 12 people outside of the Treasury, and we have Ayanna Presley screaming, literally, like, my ears were kind of hurting there, about Black History Month. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how is President Trump ever going to recover from this? Surely, he has a trifecta in the government. He won the election by a steamrolling margin. This has been one of the most efficient and sort of unified governments, presidential administrations I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. But no, he has Ayanna Presley screaming, "Ah!" This is the best the Democrats have to offer. What has happened to this party? I remember when Democrats actually were able to do stuff. They were able to actually sort of organize things, and they had some degree of popular support. This is unbelievable. You have a party now, and notice how even the talking points have not changed. It's like all this talk about how the Democrats are going to be better. Well, they're still yammering on about democracy when the Democratic results of the last election show that no one likes them, but they're still like, hands off our democracy to the billionaires like Trump and Musk. The American people literally voted for Trump, and by extension, let's debunk that talking point as well, they did vote for Elon Musk by extension. Not that they did directly, but Elon Musk was a public part of Trump's 2024 campaign. It wasn't like some shadow secret where he came out after they were elected, like, I don't know, George Soros, Alex Soros might have been. No, it was very transparent. Trump said before the election he wants Elon Musk to clean up government waste. The American people voted for that. And now you're claiming that this is not what democracy looks like when we did have a Democratic election in 2024 and you lost, and now you guys don't even have any energy. But apparently in the delusional fantasy land that the Democrats live in, none of this is true, right? It's not true that they are historically unfavorable, that for the first time in several decades they have lost the national popular support of the Gallup Party identification poll, which is really historic. In other words, there are now more Republicans overall in America than Democrats, and that's including, adding states like California and New York to those numbers. Apparently, none of that is true, and according to Chuck Schumer, the people are aroused. They are aroused to support Democrats now more than ever, and yes, he actually did say this. So apparently, everything is fine because the people are aroused. His word choice, according to Chuck Schumer.
But the roots of democracy are deep. People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time in terms of trying to get this done. So yes, I think democracy will have an effect, and we are going to keep at it. We're going to keep at it legally. We're going to keep at it legislatively, but we're also going to keep at it in terms of the grassroots. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. I thank you for that, I guess, Chuck Schumer. I'm not sure what the people being aroused has to do with politics or democracy, but I'm just saying, okay. But nonetheless, I'm going to close with these thoughts. So clearly, hopefully, the point you've taken from today's video is that the Democrat Party is just completely like all over the place. You know, they have no identity. They're wandering in the wilderness. They're basically just screaming at the wall, throwing things into the void. So let me say this right here. There is no reason why Republicans cannot maintain the trifecta in the 2026 midterms, because this is the most beatable and most incompetent and most directionless and just like lacking in any identity that the Democrat Party has been in a very long time. So with that said, I think the only thing that's going to hold Republicans back in 2026 is our own incompetence, okay? Because much of the House and Senate leadership in the GOP still has a lot of issues, okay? Mitch McConnell, you can fully guess, is going to continue to try to sabotage our own Senate candidates. Mike Johnson, I'm not sure exactly has the power to really help out anyone over the finish line. So, but we got to keep in mind, okay, that's the only thing that's going to hold us back is our own party. These people have nothing. So if Democrats end up winning, it's not because it was a blue wave. It was just because like the Republicans were really incompetent at turning out their own voters. Because this party sucks. Okay, we cannot be allowed to lose to this party. That should be seen as unacceptable. I fully understand, hey, it's the midterms. You know, usually the opposition party does better. I understand that historical trend. That is not true right now. Okay, this party is a joke. So the only reason that we would lose to these people is because the establishment in our party is an even bigger joke. We cannot allow that to happen. But nonetheless, 2026 is a year away. For now, we can say these people are ridiculous. They have learned nothing, but I dare them to try the same tactics over again, and I'm sure it's going to go much differently for them this time around. With that said, though, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.